welcome to the 2-minute drill. Hey, Bernard Muhammad and Cristen Jones tonight. Demarin not going to be able to make it. Hey, peace. Hey, thank everybody for tuning in. 2-minute drill is what we talk strictly quarterback, Chicagobears quarterback. So we're talking about Caleb Williams. Hey, Cristen, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good, brother. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, we know that the last 3 weeks since they fired Shane Waldron, there's a noticeable difference in the offense. I mean, what have you noticed from Thomas Brown that's different from Shane Waldron?
A lot of simple things, just in different, different groupings and sets, different formations. But it's a lot of the same concepts. He just gets to them in different, like I said, different personnel groupings, different sets, different formations. And we're gonna get a lot into that tonight.
Okay. Hey, good, man. Because a lot of times us as fans, we watch football, and a lot of times if you didn't play the position, you really just watch it from an emotional standpoint, I would say at times. And I was having a conversation today with a guy today in the Facebook group, and he kind of I had brought up wins and losses as a quarterback stat. I mean, I definitely know quarterbacks get judged from that. But the way his argument was going, I started chuckling to myself, and I was thinking, so Joe Burrows is one of the worst quarterbacks in the leagues then.
Yeah.
If you base that solely on wins and loss. They only won 4 games. So that argument is not a total valid argument to say,
No.
Yeah, it's not a valid argument to keep saying wins and loss. Of course, you want your quarterback to win, but there are times that games are lost because your defense is no good or other mistakes. Like we see the Bears coaching making mistakes. I mean, a good example is watching Jameis Winston play against the Chargers. Hell of a game when you look at it without the turnovers. 497 passing yards, 4 TDs, but he has 2 pick six, and he had 3 interceptions and 2 pick six, and I think they only won the game by about 4 points or something.
Yeah, he's I was gonna say he's a Brett Favre, but Brett Favre wasn't even careless as Jameis. So Jameis is different.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see another Jameis ever again because he's something different.
Yeah, he said. I was laughing at. He's at the post conference. He said, "I want the Lord to deliver me from these pick sixes."
Yeah. The thing is, though, like a lot of them that he throws are like just silly. It's not like the defender made a great play or anything. He just literally throwing right to him. 2 of them in the last previous game, that Monday night game, he threw right to the defender. I don't know how he didn't see the guy there. So I don't know.
Okay, so let's get back to the Bears. With the change the Bears made, I mean, the foes that we played the Vikings, Detroit, and Green Bay. And when you look at it when Thomas Brown first came in, you really didn't know what to think because he was facing Green Bay. If I remember correctly, that was the first game that he was going to call. Was it the first game he called offense? Was Green Bay?
Yeah, that was the first game.
So, here's a team that pretty much have owned us the last, decade or more, and he's facing them. And to me, Caleb played a good game. Maybe we can start out there and we work our way to whatever games. I know you want to draw a little something on the board. I mean, what did you? I know we hadn't had this conversation. Do you remember anything in the Green Bay game that stood out to you?
His fourth quarter. That was the first time that I've seen. I would say where he's had. That was the first game leading up to the multiple fourth quarters where he's gotten into the fourth quarter and his completion percentages is very good. He's very calm. He's very he has a lot of conviction of where he's going with the ball. He knows where he's going with the ball. Um, I would say that was the first game where I would say where you can see him take that step that we always wanted our quarterbacks to do.
Okay. Hey, that's some good information. So do it look like he's processing stuff? I know you say he looked more decisive. Do it look like he's processing stuff a whole lot faster, or he just more of like, I know where I want to go with the ball?
So yeah, so they got into the quick game, which that was that game to where they got in the quick game, and that led over to the Vikings game. But the Packers game was a lot of quick games, so it was quick decisions. Um, he was climbing in the pocket. A lot of times he was avoiding, and he was avoiding too much. And you know, we facing the best of the best in the world. Once you're in the pros, these are the best defensive minds in the world. So they were having their defenders stack where they were at. So a lot of times they wouldn't get out of their gaps, and he was just rolling right into a defender. To where now you see him like stepping up and being a little bit more. Um, yeah, he's being a lot more on top of his fundamentals as far as climbing the pocket when they do go into concepts that are like into 5-step drops, 3-step drops. But his quick game, he was just that got him into a rhythm, and then after that, you can see him like gain his confidence.
Okay. Yeah, what I also noticed to add to what you're saying is I have been saying all season, I noticed the teams who disrupted their passing game the most were the teams who were able to put 6 men in a box. But a lot of times they were able to put 6 men in the box because Shane Waldron was using a lot of like his trip sets or diamond formations or whatever you may want to call them now. They were so close to the line that everybody could load the box. And even sometimes if that corner came off that trip set, even those little bubble screens had stopped working because it seemed like there was not enough spacing. And also what I noticed in the field of play, there seemed to be more spacing between the receivers because earlier in the year, there were times, I mean, up until Shane left, there was times where I thought that Kenan Allen, more so than anybody, his routes were always too close to the next receiver, and they was being able to be covered by one man because the spacing was not good.
Yeah, everything you saying is true, and to just add on to that, it's so when you install an offense, you everything has to make sense. Every play leads into something that you want to hit big. So a lot of Shane Waldron stuff was just all over the place. It made no sense. You know, you kind of sort of. I'll make this as simple as I can get it. Um, Designing an offense and and installing your game plan for a week. It is writing a story against the defensive weaknesses. And we weren't seeing that with Shane. He was just calling whatever. And there are times so where there may be something that you have not, repped a lot in practice, and you get a look in a game that you wouldn't expect it, to where yeah you are gonna call something that you haven't repped. That's that happens. But with Shane, biggest issue was a lot of his stuff didn't make sense. Even in your run game, it all has to be the same. So whatever runs you run or you incorporate, are you a gap team, or you are a zone team? Whatever you have, you always have that. You have like a couple of two big hitters that you're trying to get to at some point, and you can get to them through many different ways, formations, different personnel groupings. You can run the same concept over and over and over again. That's where your creativity has to come into play on how can I run this same play but with a different look. But Shane wasn't doing that, so it is very hard to get anybody comfortable in any type of rhythm when you don't have that type of understanding of this is the type of team that we are and this is what we do.
Okay. Now I also noticed too, and we get to this clip shortly. is I think the players are playing with more tempo and urgency. I mean, because for a while, I mean, hey, I like who I like, and it's and I'm critical of players even if they're not. If I think they're loafing, right? If I think they're loafing, I mean, other people may not. I mean, I know maybe some people think I'm flip flopping, but I'm just that's who I am. Look, I love you one week, and if you bull jiving the next week, I'll be like you bull jiving. Then you back on course, I'm gonna say you back on course. I'm not gonna be like pretending like I don't see you loafing. Man, I love DJ Moore, but I swear it was times early this year he was loafing on his routes. He was running high speed.
I feel like that was off of frustration too,
Yeah, yep.
because here you are, you've been in this league for a minute. You put up numbers with quarterbacks who a lot of us we wouldn't know who he was if he was sitting in front of us.
Right.
And here Shane Waldron comes in here and he's making him this gadget guy. He's never been that. So at some point I would say like human instincts come in to where like you are loafing. So I get where you're coming from. I mean, should he have done that? Absolutely not. But that aspect of humanity, I mean, to where just being a human comes into, and you're like, I'm just gonna run this.
Right. And I want to like take it wrong saying, hey, I dislike DJ. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying way I notice it is, and Cristen, correct me if I'm wrong. Look, a lot of the quarterbacks, his dropbacks are based off the first read. And I was seeing Caleb a whole lot early on, getting to the top of his drop, and nobody actually has even broke on a route yet. Look like they're still running. You've seen a whole lot of that. But what I've seen, but then also too, a lot of those routes to me, it was just to me the way Shane was designing them. Sometimes the routes was too long. Everybody running long at the same time, and sometimes it wasn't exactly necessary. Even if you need 15 yards on third, everybody can't run long. You got to have at least one or two players that's a safety net for the quarterback, even though that may not get the first. But at least move the ball and give the kicker the advantage. You never know. You may make some guys miss, and you may be able to get it. But I just saw a whole lot wrong when Shane was here, but I see a whole lot more effort from guys, and I see more confidence in the Bears players. But anyway, Cristen, hey, you want me to run this first play? You want to look at it and you want to drop on the board?
Oh, yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
We can get to it now. Yeah.
Okay, let me pull it up. Hold on. This is starting off fast. You wind this.
Yeah.
It don't have no sound, do it?
No.
Okay. Did you want me to just let it run it? Didn't you?
Yeah, you can just let it run, and I'll explain it afterwards.
Okay. This looks like this.
We go Detroit back to game. It too. Yeah.
Here we go. Let it roll. Okay, let's run this again, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this play, he looked like in shotgun, empty set.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you when to pause it.
Okay, here we go.
All right, pause it. Pause it. Okay, right there. Now, this is they are a man, single high, and it's a mirrors. It's
That's a single high safety right there.
Yeah, single high safety. It's mirrors. So what you running on the left, you run on the right, or vice versa. What you run on the right, you run in to the left. It's a trip set to the it's a trip to the right.
Okay.
It's a trip set to the right. I'm gonna draw it up in a minute, but the guy that I think that is Cole Kmet. I'm not sure, so I have him as the Y.
See what you're saying.
I can't tell who's on that ball. Whoever that is, I'm gonna call the Y. And this is typically the new way of how coordinate, even in high school, it's a smash concept, but they don't run instead of a corner route or a flag route or whatever you want to call it. They run slot fades. So Caleb knows that it's man. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they did motion, but Caleb knows it's man. So he's locked on that free safety right here, and he's staring at him. So free safety, he hold him. He couldn't move, and he knew he was going to DJ Moore the whole time. He went towards the short side of the field. It's easier throw, and he went to DJ Moore. I thought it's great concept. When you get into empty like this, it's very hard to blitz. If you do blitz, you're gonna see it. So if you blitz from anywhere here, the quarterback can see it. There's nothing you can do when you are in empty that can confuse any quarterback at any level. So if they were to blitz and if they were to do some form of a half slide, it'll wherever this mic is, he's set up. I mean, he can't because he's responsible for the quarterback. But if he decides that he wants to set up right here, just half slide. What I mean slide is this guy, and he'll slide to the mic. These got this got that. And it's man. So over here, he's got a stab route, which he comes here. This guy has the slot fade. This guy has a hitch or stop route. And over here, you got the same thing. You got the slot fade, and you got, that's a corner. I'm sorry. That's a curl. I'm sorry. And you got a stop route right here. Great, good concept. There was nothing that this dude could done. Caleb held him. Now, oftentimes, some QB coaches will tell you to look this way or look that way, but the best way to keep the safeties honored and to keep them holding, to keep them to stay within their fundamentals and to not jump any routes is to stare at them. And he held them long enough for DJ to get open, and he made a nice throw. Those are, just simple things that you can get through to any way. Any type of way you can get to it to 2x2. You can get to it through an empty set. If it's 2x2, then you might see something to where you'll see something like this to wherever this running back is. I'll call him a T. That's normally what they call him. And then you might see, now this is where you might see something like this. You can get to it anyway, but then the danger of that is that you could get called for a blitz, and that the best way to keep the quarterback from getting any type of pressure or a blitz is just to go ahead and have an empty set, and that way you can do something like this, and now you got this right here. You got that, and now you can do a lot with this. You can do a lot. You can get into different coverages from there, but I wouldn't advise that. Any defensive coordinator would tell you I wouldn't advise. The best thing to do is to play man, because if you get in zone and these 5 guys can handle pass protecting these 6, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
These 5. I'm sorry, I said 6. These 5. You're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, Chris, I know everybody's philosophy is a little different, but I definitely agree with you. When your quarterback is under pressure the way the Bears have been under, I agree that you try to go to an empty set. And I know a lot of people, when you think about that, you think like, no, he needs more guys to stay in, right? It's just different philosophy. I think if you go empty set, it spreads everybody out. So if somebody actually coming, you could see it better versus when you have tight, and then you're bringing in these tight ends like he was bringing in Gerald Everett sometimes, and he's bringing in Komet, and sometimes he was almost putting them in almost like an old wishbone formation where he had 2 tight ends behind him, and then now if he was going to do that, I would say run off that. He could have ran off those sometime, right, to give them a look like, wow, you got two blocks, 3 men in the backfield. But I agree. Go spread those guys out. So now you got if you're going empty, you got 5 guys out, and the way they had that formation, they far out. So now you got that single high safety. And man, he did a great job, like you said.
Yeah, he did. Most defensive coordinators, like a Brian Flores, they walk guys up, and let me draw up something so you guys can see what I mean. Let me get a paper towel. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Should have grabbed one before.
Hey, so you're watching a 2-minute drill with Cristen Jones, the QB coach, where we breaking down plays by Caleb Williams. Right now, he's breaking down a play just happened in the game. Hey, let's run that play right back where Cristen is actually erasing the board. This is the Thanksgiving game, and this was a heck of a throw, in my opinion, by Caleb. Matter of fact, he wasn't even able to step always into this throw. Because of the pressure that he was trying to keep from bumping into the lineman that was getting pushed back. Let's run it again. I mean, that's a heck of a throw. You know what? While you're doing that, I got a few other plays I'm going to run through. Cristen,
go ahead.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me share the screen. I think these are from the Vikings game. Good fundamentals. Oh, man, that was a nice throw to Cole Kmet. Now we to the Packers game. You know, Chris, you remember this play right here? I mean, I know you are racing on the board. This play is – I thought this was good awareness by Caleb on this play. He actually ducks under a rusher and completes this pass. Then he looked back to see where he's at.
Yeah, his avoiding skills is top tier, and his ability to be able to throw on a run and from any arm angle is top tier. That's when I was on the show last week, and I was saying I really don't like making comparisons because then I just don't like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
However, him and Pat Mahomes, I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it. I really don't like making that type of comparison, but man, he has a lot of that in his game, and it's kind of weird because he grew up an Aaron Rodgers fan. That's not the type of style Aaron Rodgers play. Like Aaron Rodgers doesn't play that type of style. Aaron Rodgers is just a sniper. He's gonna stay in that phone booth and he's going to deliver the ball on time, precisely every time. So where Pat, he doesn't have best fundamentals at all. I tell my quarterbacks that I train in at the school to not at all by any means go look at film of him because his footwork isn't the best. Nothing he does in the pocket I wouldn't teach. It's not good at all. The only thing I would teach is his throwing motion. His throwing motion is top tier, but his mechanics is not the best at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best at all.
That show how some people they just naturally gifted. It's almost like Michael Johnson, who was an Olympic runner. Like nobody would teach you to sprint standing straight up running like this. I mean, nobody would teach you that, but he was a real sprinter, being able to sprint like that. Who we got here? We get Leon. What's happening? Hold on. What do you got right here, Leon? I'm sorry. Let me make the screen a little bigger so I can read this. It was I was no all in draft. Oh, he said I was not in on drafting Caleb, but it has shown me that he's a stud. Dude can flat out play. He has given the Bears a chance to win each and every week. Hey, I agree with you, Leon. I mean, I was kind of like on the fence originally. I was more of leaning towards Jaden Daniels myself, but as I watched more film of Caleb, I thought, he had a little bit more upside. But right now, I think both of them are playing good. But the Bears have had a chance to win each and every game. That's the thing that's so heartbreaking at times is because to see these guys kind of be able to get back into games like the last game against Detroit, they're down 16-0. I mean, to me, we know traditionally the Bears, they have not been a second half team, and to see in the last all year, you're starting to see even in the Washington game, the Bears came back in that game. They just blew it with the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
But you got Christian. I see you got some stuff.
Okay, so so like here we go. You got the strong side, you got the weak side. Oftentimes where this can get a little kooky. So linebackers is the mic is anything that's in the middle of 3. So if you're running a play to the strong side, oftentimes people will be like, that's the mic. But you'll hear the guys call this guy the mic. And that can get confusing when you're now starting to bring pressure on a simple play, because one could be dropping and 2 can be coming. So when you might get this when they bring double A gap pressure, you'll see this to where you'll get a double dog right here. You don't know who's coming, who's going. This guy, you can drop, play robber, and he can get all the way back there. It's so many different ways that will cause problems for a young quarterback. Oh, I'm sorry. For a young quarterback in just a line. This is just a simple, this is just a simple formation that I have. Reason why it's the strong side, you got the tailback right here to the left. So they'll be calling out strong right. So that's why you see that like that. But you can see oftentimes when you're bringing pressure that this can happen like this, and you don't know both of them can come. So that means you're going to be sliding protection, a half slide here. You'll have a slide here, a slide there, a slide there. He's either hot, this Y is either hot, or he knows he's responsible for this backside. That's the C gap. So this D gap right here. It's the simple things of what can happen. I know it may seem simple, but it's simple, but it also has some complexity to it in a way too. Because if you got a concept that you got out of this, to where you might have motion this guy, this Y, anywhere. I mean, well, not anywhere. You might have motioned him out here that way or whatever. However, and you don't see that they follow, you know somebody's coming from somewhere. And this is the type of stuff that you see in the NFL and also college, in high school, to where you'll get double A gap pressures like this, and you don't know who's coming and you don't know who's going. So that's the problem. One of the issues that you have when you face a Brian Flores, because he'll sit. That's another thing too. He'll sit his safeties pretty short. Like they'll, instead of being at like maybe 6 7 yards, instead of being like at 10 yards, they'll be like at 6 or 7. So you might see that free safety right there. And in any instance in high school, there's no way any high school kid, shoot, even college, there's no way he can get back to 10 yards. You asking him to do something. But in the pros, this guy can, if you wanted to play a quarters coverage to where he can, if this was hashes right here and he needed to get to this hash, he can do that. If you wanted to play a flat out cover 2 or 2-man, he can get to this hash and play this half of the field to the sideline. So you can see a lot of that into where this guy can do that. It's so much. This guy, he can turn into a safety, this corner.
Yeah.
He can turn into a safety. He played flat. There's so many ways that defensive coordinators can trick you, and they can still get home in just by just not knowing where your hot guy is or not communicating that. So,
you
see a lot of that.
Man, Chris, that is so deep and complex. Playing a quarterback, I know a lot of times people think people are being like mean when when we say, hey, this guy does really seem intelligent enough to play quarterback. I mean, you have to be in some degree of intelligence because, I mean, like what you're explaining, you're talking about X, Y, and Z receivers, guys going in motion. Who is your hot route? Now, what are the route combination? Are they running mesh concept? He walked the guy down in the box, right? Now he's in the A gap. Okay, the quarter, they just didn't call the play. What are you going to do on that look? And you only have what? You drop back 1, 2.
Yeah, you got like 3
It better be in
seconds.
the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to
It better be
process
in the
that
air.
in 3 seconds. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a lot. And oftentimes this can be pre-snap. This ain't what you gonna get post. So this you can think that this is that, and then after the snap, your post snap, it can just turn into man. It can be any coverage, and that's what Brian Flores do. He doesn't necessarily. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
E-Hop said the breaking news: the Bears just contact him in reference to the current coaching vacancy. Hey, good luck in the interview, bro. Good luck.
No, sir.
Hey,
No, sir. I
E-Hop,
don't
man,
want that type of stress.
I know you have been saying you want to come on, man. Let me get you. Let's make this happen in the next week or two, okay? But
no, I don't want that type of stress. No, but you see a Brian Flores team, Eberflus, he does a function in his Tampa 2 is more of a 4-2-5 because he plays with he doesn't really play with who's that guy? What's the kid's name that's from Wisconsin, number 57?
Jack Sanborn.
Yeah, he doesn't really play with Jack Sanborn. He plays with Gordon. So Gordon plays that I would just call him a nickel, but he's technically a wheel. He plays this guy a lot. So it's more of Gordon plays this guy a lot, and you'll see him in the slot. And this guy in Flus's system comes from different areas, and they'll instead of him being this, Gordon will be here, and then you got your free or your Sam or however, depending on the alignment with the wide receivers, and then you'll see a 3 technique, and you'll see this pressure here, and you don't know who's coming, and that causes stress on the center. It causes stress on this guard here, causes stress on the tackle because they all have to slide down. It's a half slide, so they have to slide, or it can turn into a full slide. So it can cause a lot of pressure. So that's how Eberflus does it with his Tampa 2. But Flores does it with multiple. Anybody can come. Yeah, multiple people. Anybody can come, and you don't know where they're coming from.
Okay. So, hey, I got another clip I want to share. Hold on, let me see if I can bring this one.
Williams going for the big ball. Going for the big shot. Okay. And he hits it. Moore with the touchdown haul.
Okay, that one. Let me see what the other one I have here. I know I had a couple of clips here.
Pressure comes. Gets away from Van Ginkel. Still under pressure. Floats it down the sideline. And somehow Swift
that was the play.
DeAndre Swift didn't locate it at first, and then it dropped in his lap at the 11. First down, Chicago. Here's the thing.
Let me run this, start this over. Christian, this is the play against Green Bay. I mean, I don't even know how he even threw this ball.
I don't either, because he was in the air.
Yeah. Incredible arm.
Pressure comes. Gets away from Van Ginkel. Still under pressure. Floats it down the sideline. And somehow Swift finds it.
He was in the air.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. And this is the amazing thing on how comfortable he's getting in this offense the last few weeks under Brown. We know he had been overshooting guys on routes where they had to run up under it. Okay, not only he hit the pass that you showed earlier that where he DJ ran up under it. In this game, he literally throws a ball with both feet in the air to a guy who's not looking at him, right? Because sometimes those throws, I mean, I know they're challenging, but if you see the numbers, right, you at least throwing to a target that's sitting in one place. He throws it to a guy that's running, and it drops down before the safety over top gets there, so he doesn't even put his receiver, who was, I think it was a DeAndre Swift, the running back coming out the backfield. Now, granted, he could have probably threw it to him right out of the backfield because he was actually initially open when he first broke on that play. So, but he ended up making it an incredible play. Let me run this play one more time because if it don't start up too quick. You can see DeAndre is actually open right there if you can see the arrow. And but he missed it initially because of the way this guy is coming down on him. So it probably would have been too much of a riskier throw, or he might have would have jumped up and knocked the ball down because unless he throws it sideways, he's actually in the throwing path.
Pressure comes. Gets away from Van Ginkel. Still under pressure. Floats it down the sideline. And somehow Swift finds it. DeAndre Swift didn't locate it at first. And then it dropped in his lap.
Let me see if it's this one. What's on this one? Trying to move the ones that we've already shown. Come on. Okay. Let's move that one out the studio. It's you. Did we show this one? Let me see if I can rewind it.
Here's Williams.
Okay, we saw this one already. So let's move this one out. They got a couple of clips down at the bottom. And let's see which one is this one. Okay, this one is not playing. Okay. So bro, I mean, what's the so do you feel Thomas Brown has gained control of this offense? I mean, what has made a difference? I know you mentioned early, like some of the concepts and all that. I mean, is anything else that you notice that's any different? Because I know they're running the same offense, primarily running the same offense, but what else is different?
I haven't seen any of his wrinkles, his stuff, his version of the offense. I'm just gonna be honest here. Things were so bad, so we got used to things being so bad and those stretch of games that even going back to Lugetti, that we not used to seeing just a guy who is just doing what, NFL coordinators are supposed to do.
Right.
That's it. It ain't nothing. I've been watching the concepts. The only thing I would say he just gets to him, he has a very unique way of getting to him for different personnel groupings. But they're saying, regular concepts. Like he didn't do anything that make you think like, dang, how did you think of that? Or I wouldn't have thought of that. It's just he gets to them in different ways, and it's enough to throw off the defense and the defensive coordinator because you didn't see them run that with this personnel, or you didn't see them running this out of 3-by-1 or out of empty or out of 2-by-2 or out of a tight formation. We haven't seen that. So that's what I would say. He's just being a good professional. He's setting up plays. I would like to see him try to figure out this run game and get that going, run the ball a little bit more. But other than that, I can't really say he's this offensive genius because he's just doing what an offensive coordinator is supposed to do.
Okay.
Honestly.
In this last game on Thanksgiving, what we saw, even though they struggled the first half, I thought what we saw in the second half is we saw passes being connected in the deep middle. I thought that was so important because it's not a lot of quarterbacks in this league, in my opinion, that actually could complete passes in the deep middle. You'll see, okay, I take like a tour, for example. You see a lot of stuff that's outside the numbers, sideline, 5 yards out, 5 yard out, quick slants, right? Everything is sideline. and you barely see anything that's in between the hash mark. He threw a dime, maybe about 15, 20 yards to Kenan Allen, right in the middle. Then he came back to something a little bit more deeper where he hit Kenan Allen, because Kenan Allen had 2 touchdowns in that game. Then also to be able to start converting deep passes, because that was the thing that had been missing. I mean, I know they still miss a few in the first half, but like the clip you showed where he hit DJ Moore about a 30-yard pass up the field. So the more and more you connect on those deep balls, to me, the less likely teams want to pressure you, because now they know you could convert them, and now you can really make them pay for those mistakes. Kind of like I would say the Denver and Cleveland game where Bo Nix threw, I want to say, a 93-yard touchdown pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the pass was only roughly about 20-yard throw. The rest of it was just yak yards.
Yeah. But, Detroit, and I'm going to say this, everybody been so, hyping Ben Johnson. I think he's a great, offensive mind. But his second half of that game, he made no adjustments. He was honestly really bad. If you go back and really watch the second half of that game, he was really bad. For Thomas Brown became really aggressive. I guess Coach Glenn thought that, you know what, we're going to really stick it to him, and we're going to start bringing pressure, and we're going to start playing man. And Thomas Brown used that against him, to where he started getting Cole Kmet involved in Keenan Allen, guys who can really do some damage in the middle of the field in man coverage, against man coverage, I'm sorry. So I think that the thing that I like about Thomas Brown, I think once he sees that you're going to play man, he's going to be really aggressive, and he's going to try to go for the kill. Like, he's really out to go for the kill, because I think that was a third down when he threw. Was it third down when he threw that touchdown pass to DJ Moore? The one that I just dribbled, was that third down? I think
it was third down play.
Yeah, that's not smash isn't a third down play. Even in man, that's not third down plays are your ones that you know that you gonna get, like, that's money. A fade route isn't money. Unless you are throwing a back fade, you throwing a fade and you throwing it to the shoulder,
Okay.
To where that's kind of sort of money, because the defender can't get to it. However, any type of ball that you're trying to go vertical with, that's not something that I would suggest to call on a third down, especially if it's like 3rd and 6 or something that's manageable, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 2. You're not going to call that. Especially, I mean, I like what Tom is doing, but offense ain't that yet to where you can the playbook is open. But he aggressive, and he be going for it, and, we be scoring. So, like, I like that aspect about him. And it makes sense. And it's something that Caleb's seen, like, some of these concepts that he's running, he's seen them. So it's not something that he's thinking about. It's not something that he processing. He playing football. Now he playing a game. Now he out there, trying to make plays instead of trying to not to make a mistake or trying to do this play right. He out there, like, trying to execute this play and make you look silly. So I like that about Thomas Brown too.
I also like what I've seen the last 3 games, where, to me, they seem like they didn't scale back on some of the pre-snap stuff from Caleb. Because I think it was in the last game at one point, Caleb came to the line and he was about to check out of the play. That's what appeared to me. And the center said, we okay, Caleb. We okay. Right? Then he stopped. To me, kind of like stopped him, like, no, this is kind of like run that play. This play is okay. And that's one of the things I was being too critical. I was starting to be critical of them, was they was putting too much on this plate. And I felt at the while that they was trying to base the success this year solely on his shoulder, which is unfair for a rookie, because you're trying to process everything. You learn everything. This game is moving fast. And, you cannot base that success solely on a rookie on how well they do, because you have up and downs. But anyway,
Yeah.
I want to mention the last game, then we could get into some more film and wrap up. Is the last game, Christian? I'm more convinced from that last set of series that from watching that series break down, I'm going to say from being a former player, and you know that it's happened sometime, and a lot of people who haven't played the game don't realize it's happening. You have no clue what the down is sometimes until you look at the market. You're in the zone, and if stuff starts going wrong, you may not even realize like what down it is. And what I'm saying is, I don't think the players really knew what down that was. And I think they lost track of what was going on. And this is why coaches have to sometimes call timeout to gather the players. Now I realize what really was going on as far as play-wise, because I didn't catch it at first. On that play, let's go back one play. There was a couple of penalties here and there, which could have kind of confused the players of the down. But anyway, even though you can look at the down marker, but sometimes it just don't happen. There was a hands to the face, and I believe they really didn't pay attention to what down it was. The next play was a quarterback draw. And I know I now said that, but now I realize it was a quarterback draw because the center shot up the field for about 3 yards.
Yeah, and the tackles, they the tackles were not in their regular set. They set out really far.
Yeah.
So people were blaming Larry Borum, but it happened so quick too, to where you thought, the lineman wasn't ready. But no, he could have did a better job.
Pretty better job at least reaching out.
Yeah, reaching out and selling a little bit more. But that's just the dysfunction of where this team is, just how it was set up, to where I'm pretty sure Thomas probably will regret calling it, because that's probably something they haven't rep. Because Caleb would you mess up that bad, you haven't repped that, because there is no way. Just how he was marching down the field and just how he was in, just so much good composure. Every throw, he had good conviction on it. He was doing such a good job. Then you call that, and then you take that type of mental lapse. It's because he probably didn't rep it, and he probably didn't know. And it has been stated through so many interviews and with the players, like, Caleb he called the wrong player, he got the wrong play. And that's what happened. That is expected when you got a new play caller who was thrust into something. After 10 games into the season, that's gonna happen.
Right. And it seemed indecisive on what they really wanted to do, because when he did call that time out, he called the timeout on first down. He called the timeout. It was around 43 seconds. And he went over to the sideline and talked to them because he was trying to keep from getting a delay of game. Because after they got the first down, it took them a little while to set. So they should have already worked out what the situation was going to be. And I think this is where they failed in recognizing what they should do. But this is something that they've been doing for a couple of years, the coaching staff here. So I'm glad they did move away and make those changes. And I think this has been a blessing for not only Caleb, but all the receivers, because I'm looking at DJ, he's more engaged. Kenan Allen looks a whole lot more better. Roma Dunze, Kmet is starting to make some catches. Now, I agree with you. You got to get back. You got to run the ball a little bit more with some convictions, because when I'm looking at the stats, Caleb is second in the league in attempts. I think number one is Joe Burrows is number one in attempts, and Caleb is number two. Now, I will say sometimes that could be misleading, because I was having a discussion about going back and forth with a person about Jaden Daniels, and you could say he had less attempts. He probably did, but what you also not counting is he probably had just as many dropbacks.
Yeah,
a lot of his dropbacks may end up being runs because he's taken off after the first read. So sometimes it's hard to say if a guy only completed 20 passes when he was running quarterback or he runs a lot, he might have had 30 dropbacks.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 of them he just took off and ran because he didn't see that he didn't want to go through the progression or whatever it is. He took off running. But you got Chris. I'm sorry, I was a little long-winded on that.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The attempts, that it's definitely misleading because you're not counting, when you scramble. So I definitely agree with you with that.
Yeah, because you can have design runs, but I also wanted to note this that I looked this up to today, and I think yesterday. I'm gonna real quick share this, and I thought it was interesting because perception and people kind of get a perception of something, and sometimes they're not even watching the games, right? You got more people watch little short snippets of games, YouTube and all that, or they have a bias and they just stay with the bias. So I just want to drop this by real quick. Not saying one guy's better than the other one. I think both of these guys are on the right path. But you would think Jaden Daniels is far ahead of him. But a lot of people, if they haven't watched it was a stretch that Jaden was actually struggling. Yeah, I mean, last game was a whole lot better. But if you look at just from a passing concept, he has 15 passing touchdowns. Caleb has 14. He has 252 completions. Caleb got 253 completions.
Yeah.
And Caleb got about maybe I think about 2,612 yards. Jaden Daniels got 2,819. And he got a little bit better quarter pass rating. He averages, Jaden Daniels, 216.9 yards a game. Caleb averages 217.7. Now, even the rushing yards, Daniels is around 500 rushing yards, and Caleb is around 350. So there's not a lot of gap. The biggest gaps is wins and losses.
That's what I was gonna say. When you winning, you typically overhype things. Because we would have been doing it. We would have been guilty of doing that if Caleb was we switched the records and Washington has our record and we got theirs. We've been saying oh yeah, he's locked for Rookie of the Year, and Caleb is doing this. And in a nutshell, both of them going through their highs and their lows. So yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, you're right, Christian. Because if you think about it, and I know this ifs, I'm not trying to recast the record, but if you don't get the Hail Mary, what we would be talking about is how the Bears came back in that game, right? Because the Bears in that game. If you don't have the situation that happened last week on Thanksgiving, we'd have been talking about Caleb drove the team 99 yards to a game-winning drive.
Yeah.
If they had made the field goal in the other game, we'd have been talking about that's a total difference of perception, right?
We would have. I agree with you. Absolutely. We would have. But you know what? Cal Shanahan said it, and I was talking about it yesterday, but when somebody else, how somebody says something that you said, but when they say you get a whole different perspective of your own thought. He was like, the Bears up until that point, we were 4-2. We lose that close game. Then we only got blown out by Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We lay an egg against New England. Then you lose 3 straight games by coaching mistakes.
Yeah.
So you take that away. This team is playing good football, but with all the dysfunction or with Eberflus and the mistakes that he made, it gets lost. You just don't think about this team really ain't as bad as the record says it is. We should have won that game against Washington. We won that game against Washington. Shane Waldron nor Eberflus are fired. They're still employed.
Yeah.
So we win that game. You beat. You definitely should have beat the Packers. There's no way you should have lost that game.
Mm-mm.
You should and in that game too, what really messed up him going for the 2-point conversion when he should have went for the field goal, because that would have helped definitely in the end. because the field goal would have won the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like mistakes like that he just calls. And then in the Minnesota game, I mean, yeah, that's just I mean, not the Minnesota game, the Lions game. It's just egregious on how you don't call timeout, because that game could have went into overtime, and we could have beat them. So
yeah, unfortunately that had to happen, because that's the only way that guy would be gone. Because if all that had went right, he would still be here. But if it all went right, then that means he had grown. I mean, that's what it would have meant for both of them. They would have grown. And unfortunately, Flus is the epitome of the word if. That's what he is. He's the epitome of the word if, that you could go back to his whole coaching career in Chicago and you could find all these if this had happened, because he always somehow, even when you look at the year that they were trying to tank, you can almost look back at that year and say, man, they actually was better than the 3-game win team. There was actually a couple of games that year that you like, man, they probably could have won that game with a few little bonehead mistakes, or he passed some field goals and 1 for 2. Last year, definitely, I know we have the games that we point to, but there was actually still stuff in those games that you could say changed the momentum of the game, which were stuff like he's going to go for it and don't get it. And then it's like all of a sudden at the end, he clambers up. Like, okay, dude, you can't be aggressive in one point and then clamber up when the real pressure comes.
Flus, I just think he got a lot of growing to do as far as a head coach. That's it. That's all it boils down to. He probably could turn into it. He probably gonna get another chance at some point. Maybe it's NFL or college. But his problem was not having a team be able to finish, and he don't know how to hire the right coaches, because he had to fire too many coaches within how many years he was here? 4 years, going on 4.
That's two and a half.
2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years. That's not a good resume at all.
Yeah,
it's not a good resume that you are firing coaches that fast. You've had to fire 2 coaches that fast. That's not good.
Yeah, because you had the 2 that was fired from
whatever they did.
Yeah, whatever those issues were. Then you fire your OC,
your offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
When you got a guy that's in the building who you looked over, who comes in, and we've been scoring the most points we scored all season under him. When I remember you and I was having a conversation, I was like, we can just score 21 or 24 points a game, we would be okay. And we've been about at that margin of what I expected us to be at the start of the year. And we couldn't even get that from Shane Waldron. So it's just a lot of, I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand his hiring process.
I don't either. I don't know what he was looking for. And, the Keenan Allen talk about that they was questioning some of the stuff even in training camp. I mean, that's when you should have been like, okay, I'm a defensive guy. How does this look for me looking at it, right? And early on, I think you was in game 2 where you had players actually coming together and forming a leadership council to go in and talk to the OC. I mean, come on, like at some point you got to realize something is off, right? It's like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what he was thinking, because your specialty if I wanted to, I could coach defense. But I don't want to. That's not my thing. But when you design concepts from offense, your first mind goes to being a defensive coordinator. How would I stop this? What's my weakness on this? What is what is my weakness on this play? We can do this right, but if they do this, that's how you think. It's always a pro and a con. So by you being a head coach, you need to be well versed in every aspect of football, even to special teams. So you can't tell me that you hired this guy and you thought that, yeah, he's going to be a good guy for Caleb. I don't know Eberflus, but it was some reason why he hired Shane Waldron. And I would love to hear why, because ain't none of us that's in Bears Banter Nation, we can tell by sitting at home like, yeah, this guy ain't it. I remember when who was we playing? Did we play a team that was in a dome this year? Who
We
did we
played
play that with?
the Colts were in the dome. I think we was on the road in the Colts game.
Yes. I remember him calling a play, and his hand was shaking.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that made me nervous.
Yeah, and I said maybe he got a condition or something.
The camera was on him, and he was holding his play sheet, and he was shaking. And I was like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I don't understand what his hiring process was, how he came to the decisions he made. Unfortunately, that you have to look at the GM polls and all them on too, right? Like because hey, you got to question that guy hiring process too. But I'm talking about as far as when you see your coaches making that kind of mistake in their hiring process, and you called in, for example, Cliff Kingsbury, and I think they called in about 10 guys to interview.
They called in Kingsbury, Cliff. They called in Shane Waldron. They called in Thomas Brown. They called in the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay. I think his name is Liam. I remember they called in the offensive coordinator for the Saints, Kubiak's son, Gary Kubiak, Clint Kubiak. They called in him, and it was two other people. I can't remember. Two other people. I can't think of the name of them. Ultimately, they decided to go with Shane Waldron, which to me, I'm just speaking hypothetical, but to me it seemed like the more safer option because he wasn't going to be a guy that was going to threaten you for your job. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the personality
to that's what it looked like.
Command a room. You're not going
to hire nobody that's been a head coach before in Kingsbury, because if this thing goes south, you're going to be out of there. And that's probably why he didn't hire Thomas Brown, and he wanted Thomas Brown on staff, because you want as many good football minds in the room, in the building. But he probably didn't want to hire him because of how he talked. Thomas Brown got swag.
He does.
His whole persona. He got swag to him. So, he probably felt a little bit intimidated by that. It's just hypothetical here.
Man, I want Thomas Brown. I know we're gonna wrap up in a minute. Thomas Brown, I really want him to succeed in so many different reasons. But that swag, he definitely has swag, and I like the fact that he's coming in and he's like, I'm in charge right now. I'm not the guy just, I'm calling these last few games, but I'm in charge. And you know what? And I had said this a few weeks ago. Some of the players need to stop some of this, man. Some of them yakking too much. And he said, hey, we got to keep some of the family. We got to keep the family business in the house. And it's true, man. Look, us as fans, we may want a player to get up there. I mean, we may be like, hey, man, you need to tell the truth of what's going on. We saying that, but reality, man, you don't want the players coming out and saying stuff that should be in the locker room. Handle that. But you know what? The best way to handle anything is going out there, busting your ass in the game and bringing back a W, right? Pay attention to the details, right? If you go on a hot route, run that hot route when you're supposed to. If you're supposed to block somebody, block them. Guess what? When we paying you the big money to make those difficult catches, we ain't paying you to make the little basic catches. We paying you to make the difficult catches, right?
Absolutely.
Make those catches. That's what you do. You bust your ass every play, and guess what? You win and lose as a team. That's what you do. You don't start pointing the finger at guys. Even though after the season you could say, hey man, you know, we may need to make some changes. But during the season, hey, you're a team.
I feel like he kind of in a win-win situation. Thomas Brown, and I'm gonna say this is because he win, he in. He lose, he out. So at the end of the day, you can tie this culture to what you want and go out the way that you want to, because it's going to either be either one. You either going to win and you win, or you lose and you out. Another thing too, and you and I, we locked tip on this. I don't want another coach because it's just not good to bring. I mean, yes, I do believe Caleb is smart enough to where he can learn a new system, but I'm sick of Bears quarterbacks always having to do that. It'd be so much beneficial to where he can get with his receivers and go through the playbook instead of trying to figure out what this new guy coming in, what he like and what he do. Stuff like that gonna take time. And then now you gotta learn each other, that marriage or whoever that quarterback. Shoot, even Kingsbury. Yeah, he was a quarterback coach, but still, like, his way of doing stuff is going to be a little different, and it's still going to be some form of a learning curve. So for me, the best interest is that Thomas Brown succeeds and does well for a slew of reasons. If we was going Ben Johnson, I think he might be okay. I don't know. He might not. But the time to do it was last season going into this season.
Yeah.
The time ain't now, in my opinion, because you seeing what Caleb could be, and it's so crucial that we just capitalize off of it. Because as people, I keep telling people that year to year in the NFL, it's not guaranteed. We're not seeing the same C.J. Stroud that we saw last year.
No.
And we sure ain't seeing that same Texans team. So it's like, do we want to put Caleb through that? No, let this man keep excelling. He been playing great. You got something there. Why not, capitalize it?
Yeah.
That's my reason on it.
Yeah, because if you can have continuity, because even if you retain him, he may add some stuff, that's his and make some changes. But you know what? It's continuity of the player talking to the same person, and he's growing with him, so he's introducing stuff to him. And he seemed to be, you know what? It was about 2 games. It was our Cardinal game and the Patriots game. Caleb lost his swag. And I'm sure it was because of Shane Waldron. And I said when they had the bye week, they overcoached him. And because he came back very timid, seemed confused. He was holding the ball longer. Whatever they did during that bye week, he lost his swag. But since Thomas been back, he got his swag. He's pumped up like he was early in the season when he making plays. He's going, letting the guys know, right? That's the Caleb, man. You know what? Let him be him. Like they say, go be Superman now. Hey, that's part of his genetics, man. That's what you drafted him for. You didn't draft him because he was some regular dude. If he was a regular dude, you could have went on and got, you could have got Bo Nix if you want to. Not that Bo Nix is a regular dude, but I'm just saying you could have went down further if you just wanted to get a guy that was on stand in the pocket, who was good pocket present, a lot of college experience. You got this guy because he could make those plays. That he is special in the box. He has that escapability. I mean, like even the play where he's running towards the line of scrimmage, and it looks like he's about to cross the line of scrimmage, and he goes sideways along the line of scrimmage and completes a pass without crossing the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's special.
If I'm being honest, he was thinking too much. He was trying to process too much. And now you see him playing football. I'm not saying he's not out there thinking, because, yes, there's an element to it to where, yes, he is still playing football and playing the game within the game. He's not getting too much away from it. However, you do see him playing comfortable. You do see him, like as you were saying, see him being himself and being free. Those first 5 games, it was tough because they were asking him to do too much. And he a rookie, and he was thinking too much. So where now it's literally the simple things. Yeah, the NFL gonna make him adjust, but I think he'll be fine because, as you were saying, that camaraderie that him and Brown having now, to where like he feel comfortable. I don't think he ever had that with Shane.
Yeah. So hey, we're gonna wrap up tonight. It's a 2-minute drill, which is part of one of the programs that the Bears Banter Talk Show puts out. 2-minute drill is Cristen Jones and Demarion Hampton, where they break down quarterback performances. And we'll be back this Friday with Bears Banter Talk Show with the pregame show. Hey, Cristen, you always invited. You got time to come back this Friday and talk and share your predictions for the game.
Okay. I plan to be there.
All right. Hey, so if you're out there watching, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on Friday. Peace.